Where's my kids? Not my kids, but all the kids. Good. Yeah, there's some of you here. Have you got your folders already? If you have, close them up and listen to me for just a few minutes. If you haven't got your folders yet, you can go and get them as soon as I've finished speaking with you, okay? You haven't got yours yet? Good deal. So you pay attention to me, okay? Eyes up here, ears open, and ready to hear what I've got to say, all right? Who knows why we celebrate Easter? Jack? Because of Jesus' resurrection. That's right. Very good. Now, I have a very controversial question. Parents, adults, if you have to deal with this afterwards, just deal with it, okay? Is the Easter Bunny real? Zeke? Zeke says no. Theo? No. Are there any yeses? Oh, Pippa thinks maybe, but... No, Jack says emphatically, no, he is not real. Have you? Well, maybe just put some of your ears on and call it good. Yeah. If he's not real, then what in the world does he have to do with Easter? What does a bunny have to do with Easter? Does anybody know? Arabella? Because bunnies are born. Well, there might be some. They're in the springtime. It's possible. Yeah, I think they just come whenever. To be honest, I think they're like human babies. They just, are here, there, and everywhere. Anyone else know why Easter? Why the Easter bunny? Yeah, Pippa? Yeah, I think your answer is exactly what we're all thinking. I don't know what the Easter bunny has to do with Easter, to be honest. So let me ask you another question that is not nearly so controversial. Was Jesus real? Jack? Yes. Just as emphatically, Jack says yes. Do you know that almost 50% of the British population do not believe that Jesus was even a real person? That he didn't even actually exist. There's so much... Yeah, putting aside all the things that the Bible claims that he did, it's obvious that he was a real person, but even 50% of the population almost believe that he didn't even exist as a person. Well, we know that the Easter Bunny is not real. We know that Jesus was real. So who should then be the focus of Easter? A pretend bunny or a real person? The real person. That makes sense, doesn't it? In fact, if Jesus is the focus of this special day, maybe we should call it after him instead of after something that has nothing to do with him. So maybe instead of calling it Easter, we should call it Resurrection Day. What do you think? Think that makes sense? I think that makes sense. Do you think it's still okay to eat chocolate at this time of year? I think it's the same as when bunnies are born. You can eat chocolate any time of the year. I think that's okay, and it's perfectly fine. And if they want to sell more chocolate at this time of the year for us to eat, I think that's perfectly fine, don't you? Is it okay to do egg hunts? Yeah, sure. It's not a problem, is it? Of course it is. But we always have to remember exactly what it is that we're celebrating this year. We're not celebrating food or a nice meal. We're not celebrating family get-togethers or chocolate. Those things are how we celebrate, not what we celebrate. And we always need to keep in mind what we are celebrating this year. We are celebrating, and I cannot say this emphatically enough, just like Jack says yes and no to important things. We are celebrating the greatest day in human history. Yes, exactly. The greatest day the world has ever known is what we are celebrating. It's so important that the early Christians, the first Christians, celebrated that day, Resurrection Day, every single week. And it was why they worshiped on Sunday. Because they wanted to remember every single week the fact that Jesus had risen from the dead. So they picked the day that he rose from the dead as the day to celebrate and get together and worship. We can't emphasize that enough. We do a lot about Christmas. Christmas is good. It's fine. It's really good to remember that Jesus was born. But it's even more important that we celebrate and remember that he rose from the dead. All right, if you guys want to go get your folders, you can. Don't let it distract you and not pay attention to all the other things I have to say this morning, though, okay? Adults, your turn.